On the 2nd of February 1943, the German Sixth Army capitulated at Stalingrad. Several months prior, Field Marshal Maximilian von Weichs had anticipated the catastrophe. As the leader of Army Group B, he repeatedly cautioned Hitler that the mission would end in failure and strongly recommended a withdrawal. However, Hitler declined these warnings. Approximately 300,000 soldiers became encircled. The question remains, why did Germany's leader disregard one of his most seasoned commanders? Born into Bavarian nobility in 1881, Maximilian von Weichs pursued the career expected within his social class, enlisting in the Bavarian cavalry in 1900. During the First World War, he served as a staff officer on both the Western and Eastern fronts, earning a reputation for meticulous planning and great attention to detail. After the conflict, he stayed in the newly established Reichswehr, occupying several general staff roles in the period leading up to the Second World War. By the mid-1930s, as Germany expanded its military, von Weichs moved from the 3rd Cavalry Division to command the newly created 1st Panzer Division. His adeptness at directing extensive maneuvers impressed Army Commander-in-Chief Warren von Fritsch, and in 1937 he was elevated to command the 13th Army Corps. The next year, he led this corps in the German annexation of the Sudetenland, showcasing his dependability in key operations. The invasion of Poland in September 1939 provided von Weichs with his initial significant World War II command, leading his own corps, Weichs. His forces advanced with striking accuracy and efficiency. Securing objectives through flawless coordination, Maxwell quickly gained recognition. After Poland's defeat, he was elevated to lead the 2nd Army within Warren von Rundstedt's Army Group A in the Western Theater. During the 1940 campaign in France, Maxwell's forces shattered French defenses near Sedan, causing enemy forces to retreat and allowing a swift German advance. His extraordinary command earned him the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, along with a promotion to General Oberst. At the start of 1941, he directed the 2nd Army during the Balkans campaign. On May 19th, soon after Yugoslavia's surrender, Maxwell issued a severe retaliation directive stating that for every German soldier wounded by partisans, 100 Serb civilians would be executed. This grim decree highlighted the brutal nature of occupation warfare compared to the formal battles in France and Poland. That summer, as preparations for Operation Barbarossa were underway, Maxwell retained control of the 2nd Army under Felix von Bock's Army Group Center. His troops played a crucial role in the massive encirclement operations at Kiev and Smolensk, before advancing toward Vyazma and Bryansk. By 1942, Adolf Hitler sought dependable leaders for the most daring military campaign ever planned. Operation Blue aimed to push German forces deep into Soviet territory, targeting Stalingrad and the Caucasus oil fields. Hitler entrusted Maxwell with commanding the newly assembled Army Group B, which included Lieutenant General Hank von Salmuth's 2nd Army. General Hermann Haas's 4th Panzer Army, along with General Frederick Paulus's 6th Army, were central to this operation. This appointment placed a tremendous burden on the Bavarian Field Marshal. He was tasked with overseeing not only German divisions, but also Hungarian, Italian, and Romanian forces, spanning vast stretches of Russian land. The diverse composition of Army Group B presented exceptional challenges. Von Weichs had to manage armies that spoke different languages, followed distinct military customs, used varying equipment, possessed uneven levels of training, and had fluctuating morale, all while ensuring they operated effectively as a whole. Romanian troops were lacking sufficient anti-tank armaments, Italian units faced supply shortages under brutal Russian conditions, and the imbalance among Allied forces tested his leadership skills profoundly. Hitler's strategic concept for Case Blue sharply contrasted with von Weichs's cautious military planning. The Nazi leader insisted on swift advances and sweeping territorial victories that would showcase German might across the globe. In contrast, von Weichs favored organized campaigns that safeguarded supply lines and preserved the integrity of his units. This fundamental disagreement sparked friction between the field marshal and his higher command. Initially, the early actions of Case Blue seemed to prove Hitler's bold approach right. German forces pushed forward rapidly beyond the Don River towards Stalingrad and the Volga, with Soviet resistance appearing to weaken as Red Army soldiers withdrew to the east. However, the true challenges were just beginning to unfold. Von Weichs observed alarming changes as his troops pushed further into Soviet lands. The front spanned over 500 miles, greatly surpassing the defensive limits of his multinational army group. By October of 1942, intelligence reports revealed Soviet forces gathering to the north and south of Stalingrad, exactly where the most vulnerable Allied units were holding the line. Von Weichs understood the escalating threat and started drafting urgent evaluations to be sent to Hitler's command. The first official alert from von Weichs reached Hitler's headquarters on November 3, 1942. This comprehensive report included details on Soviet troop deployments and exposed crucial vulnerabilities in Army Group B's defenses. He outlined how the Romanian Third Army was responsible for a 90-mile section with badly under-equipped divisions and outdated gear. German intelligence believed that more than 400 Soviet tanks were massed opposite the Romanian positions, while every Romanian division was defending a territory 3 times larger than what German military standards deemed safe. His report pointed out comparable issues facing the Italian Eighth Army south of Stalingrad. Von Weichs also observed that Italian troop morale had dropped sharply after enduring several months of difficult conditions they had not been trained for. Many soldiers faced frostbite and malnutrition, which undermined their ability to fight effectively. The field marshal urgently requested reinforcements or approval to reduce the length of his defensive lines. In confidential talks with his officers, von Weichs cautioned that if the Soviets attacked both sides simultaneously, the Sixth Army would be encircled and annihilated. He feared the catastrophe would not be measured by lost territory, but by entire armies wiped out. Hitler rejected these warnings. Capturing Stalingrad, he insisted, would shatter Soviet resistance. No withdrawal was permitted without his direct command. Throughout November, Weichs's intelligence teams collected growing proof of an imminent Soviet assault. Expanding supply bases, intercepted messages about reinforcements, and aerial reconnaissance showing troop concentrations. He alerted Berlin that Army Group B was unable to maintain its lines. Soviet troops outnumbered his Romanian and Italian allies by more than 3 times in vulnerable areas. Yet propaganda had already declared victory at Stalingrad. Acknowledging weakness was simply impossible. Hitler's circle bolstered his confidence and barred von Weichs from private discussions. On November 18th, the field marshal reported heavy artillery testing and unusual Soviet troop shifts. His final alert forecasted a major breakthrough within 1 day. Hitler's orders stayed firm, no fallback. At dawn on November 19, 1942, Soviet artillery unleashed on the Romanian Third Army's front. Armored units breached the positions von Weichs had long warned were insufficient. The Romanians collapsed, creating mile-wide openings along Army Group B's northern flank. The following day, Soviet troops launched an attack on the Italian Eighth Army, which collapsed even more rapidly. By the 23rd of November, the encircling forces joined west of Stalingrad, trapping Paulus's Sixth Army within a shrinking pocket. Von Weichs quickly urged Hitler to authorize a breakout, insisting it was the sole chance to rescue 250,000 soldiers, emphasizing that the Sixth Army possessed enough fuel and ammunition to last for a 48-hour period. Hitler declined, demanding that Stalingrad be held at all costs. Instead, von Weichs was instructed to attempt a rescue using the same broken units that had just been defeated. Torn between conflicting commands and reality, von Weichs observed Paulus's desperate radio messages requesting supplies. German transport aircraft attempted to sustain the army, but Soviet fighters and anti-aircraft fire decimated them. Then Hitler stripped von Weichs of his best armored divisions, reallocating them to Manstein's new Army Group Dawn, which rendered any hopeful relief impossible. By January 1943, von Weichs commanded only remnants of his original force. On the 2nd of February, the Sixth Army capitulated, with 90,000 survivors staggering into captivity from an original strength of 250,000. The Battle of Stalingrad marked the end of von Weichs' frontline military career. He was relieved of his command in that area in early 1943, but was promoted to Field Marshal on the 1st of February. In August of the same year, Hitler reassigned von Weichs to southeastern Europe, transitioning him from overseeing vast battlefronts to conducting guerrilla warfare as the leader of Army Group F. As the commander of OB Südost, he was now responsible for all German forces in that region. During a period when partisan uprisings jeopardized German dominance throughout the Balkans, Maxwell von Weichs operated from his headquarters in Belgrade, orchestrating campaigns against Yugoslav resistors, led by Tito, whose guerrilla strikes disrupted vital supply routes and communication networks. In Greece, resistance groups executed sabotage and ambush missions, presenting unconventional warfare challenges that differed significantly from von Weichs' traditional military engagements. His systematic approach fueled severe anti-partisan actions, where German units under his leadership carried out ruthless reprisals. These included demolishing villages suspected of supporting partisans, executing mass killings, and forcibly relocating civilians. The discipline and precision once applied to battlefield orders were repurposed to enforce harsh occupation tactics. In April 1944, Hitler expanded von Weichs' authority, assigning him command over all German troops stationed in Hungary. This additional duty further stretched his resources, especially as Soviet forces advanced steadily towards the Balkans. By October, worsening circumstances compelled von Weichs to relocate his headquarters from Belgrade to Vukovar. The German grip on the region rapidly deteriorated by the end of 1944. He managed the withdrawal from Greece and large parts of Yugoslavia, relinquishing territories that had been won at substantial cost. On the 25th of March, 1945, von Weichs retired from his military service. Following Germany's surrender in May 1945, American troops detained him, charging him with war crimes connected to the brutal acts committed under his direction in the Balkans. Originally scheduled to appear at the hostages trial, he was withdrawn due to health issues before his testimony could begin. Keeping silent about his actions during the war, von Weichs passed away at Berg-Rußburg near Bonn on the 27th of September, 1954, at the age of 72 following a prolonged illness. His death attracted little attention, marking a subdued conclusion for a man who once held the responsibility of commanding entire armies. Well, that concludes this story. Thank you for watching. If you found this narrative intriguing, be sure to check out The Rise and Fall of Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel, Hitler's Yes Man. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell to remain informed about more World War II content. See you in the next episode.